Greetings, YouTube. It is post-mortem arena discussion Monday, and several of you are still with your family, as I've heard from you. I, of course, am back in my gaming room, broadcast room, home room, whatever you want to call it, room. My family is back to being 800 miles away, unless you count Prof. Box, who's like 2,000 miles away. So, the good news is, I guess that means I get more of an opportunity to broadcast and to discuss the news of the day. Now, this was such a historic arena clash that I did a rare arena preview video on it. It was Warlock versus Black Widow Clairvoyant 2 Beyond God Tier, undisputed. Some of the best designed champions ever. Kabam Broccoli's hands are all over this arena. And so, because of this, I kind of theorized that the community would be split up between the two. Now, they're not the newest champions, of course. They're a couple years old, but a lot of you still don't have them as 6-stars, right? And so it was super fascinating to see what the 6-star featured was going to go for, or the 5-star featured, or the 6-star basic, or the 5-star basic. And, of course, the scores of those are always very, very low compared to the 6-star featured because 6-star champions are worth more in the 6-star featured, but they're worth the same as 5-star champions in the 6-star basic arena. So looking at the results, it's pretty newsworthy, I think. Top 100, and this is always brought to you by our friends at Instituto Trucos, who make incredible infographics and have for many years. Please go subscribe to them on Facebook and Twitter and all of their many platforms for the latest up-to-date information as soon as they post it. But 95 million for 6-star Warlock is pretty freaking low, you know? When you consider that that is actually much, much lower than Void, than obviously champions that are more like trophy champions like Ghost Rider, certainly lower than when Hyperion originally broke it. Hyperion was about double Warlock. He's at 181 million. And again, I get why he's not available in the 6-star basic Crystal, but Warlock is still a champion that, like Hype, doesn't need to be awakened. And yet he's still amazing. Consider that Null went for about 100 million more in the first round, which is quite staggering. But even a champion like, say, Stark Spidey, 135. And again, I know Stark Spidey's not in the 6-star basic, but still pretty big. Newly buffed champs went for 101 million in the first round. OG Black Widow still went for 86 million. Conversely, in the 6-star basic, we have a 50.58 million for Black Widow Clairvoyant. That is much higher than the Overseer, but lower than Purgatory, right? Way lower than somebody like Shang-Chi. Lower than Silver Centurion, which is a bit surprising to me, though my man Captain Bay did an awesome Silver Centurion video. Odin, much lower. Odin went for 66 million. And Strife went for 64 million. What's interesting, though, is that I still think one of the signs of people being interested in an arena is where the top 500 are. And you'll see 40 million for 5-star Warlock and 17.9 million for 5-star Black Widow Clairvoyant. Those are pretty high, right? Those are pretty high. When you think about the 5-star basic, we haven't seen a 5-star basic go that high in a couple months since Mr. Negative went for 20 and 21 million. And as far as the 5-star featured cutoff, it is very rare for an older champion to achieve 44 million for a cutoff. We haven't seen that in a long time. In fact, we haven't seen that in terms of an older, non-new champion. I'm going through the data right now. I don't know if we've ever seen it. I think that actually set a record for a non-new, fresh, out-of-the-box champion pulling that for a 5-star, which means a lot of people posted at least 30, 35 million points. So that tells me that real people are in these arenas, but, and there's a big but, with the arena bot bans, you're not getting these astronomical scores that happen when you have a program cheating and not having a human-based interactions from the gameplay to the time it takes to knock out a champion to especially things like, oh, I don't know, sleeping and eating, breathing. When you ban a bunch of arena bots, the scores do go down. Now, my man Brian Shadowstrike, that always keeps me updated, and Brian, I appreciate you more than you know. He discussed a couple other factors with me behind the scenes that I thought were worth bringing up in this video. The first is that it's the holidays. So, of course, people may not be able to grind as much in the holidays because you're with your family. You're not on your phone the whole time or as much as usual. And the second thing is with the greater gifting crystals and the gifting event in general, you maybe were needing Warlock or Black Widow Clairvoyant, but by the end of it, you pulled them from a 5-star crystal or a 6-star crystal, or you got real lucky and you got a 5 or 6-star Nexus, because those drop rates on those for greater gifting crystals are still crazy low. Like, the 6-star Nexus actually is probably, in terms of its overall value now in the game, the worst value for greater gifting crystals, whereas tier 5 class catalyst fragments, which remain really, really valuable, actually might have their cheapest value ever. It's almost like they swapped. I was expecting the 6-star Nexus drop rate to be the tier 5 class catalyst fragment drop rate. I'm not complaining, but it is surprising whoever thought of those drop rates. Some make very little sense and some are pretty exciting. So there you have it. Do you think this is a sign of things to come, or is this just a momentary blip that's going to course correct? I also think part of this is going to depend on if the arena bans end up being permanent. Because if it's just temporary, those same people are going to come back and do the same thing this week, next week, whenever they do. And they'll be ready to try to take advantage and exploit the gifting event in 2022, just as they were in 2021. So a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. As always, Brian, thank you for the information. I appreciate y'all's support. Happy Arena Discussion Monday. Thanks for clicking on the video.